Hey everyone, welcome back to Iguana Gaming. I'm the Iguana, and today we are playing some Ark Survival Evolved Mobile Edition. Now, today what I want to do is go over a few of the locations that you can find on the island map to find oil. So once again, I am on my main series character on Craig's Island, and I am flying around on the Pteranodon that I have on this game. And I am just going to go ahead and show you guys on the map and in person a few of the locations that make it really easy to get oil. So the easiest places to get oil early on in the game if you can. Oil is actually one of the harder resources to get on the map, and I will just go ahead and give everybody fair warning that you can, of course, look all of this information up on the internet just by searching it on your favorite search engine. You should be able to find an Ark Island resource map, and you should be able to figure out where oil spawns are by looking at that. But I know I have a lot of players that prefer to see it visually in the game, and so for you, I will be, of course, flying around and looking at a few of these locations in person. Now, one of the first ones, make sure I'm in the right spot here. I'm not. I should be over on this side of the island. Okay. So oil spawns in Ark tend to spawn in two specific types of locations. One, in the ocean. They are all over in the ocean. And two, in the north snow biome. So if you are looking at the white area of the map up north, on the very top side of the map, there are oil nodes all over that particular biome, and then there are also oil nodes anywhere that there is water. Essentially, you can find oil nodes if you go out far enough. Now, I'm not sure, since there is a base here, whether or not we will actually be able to find the oil node that is right here. We will check it out though. I'm gonna go ahead and swim out this way. Alright, now you should be careful in the water because there are a lot of things that can definitely harm you in the ocean, and you can, of course, end up drowning if you're not careful and if you don't have points pumped into your oxygen stat. So, looks like someone has built here. Normally, an oil node is spawning in this location, but that is okay. I know of a couple of other locations where we can find oil nodes to show you, but that is one of the major ones. So that's right about here on the map. There's an oil node in the middle of this part of the bay here. Yeah. Alright, so that's location one. Again, oil nodes are scattered all over the ocean. They're pretty much everywhere, but if you want to get to them easily, you are going to have to... You can't go very far out into the ocean as a new player, so I'm going to show you just like a couple of the oil nodes that I know that are pretty easy to get to without working too hard. Okay, so the next one we are going to visit is going to be on the west coast. This is one of the oil nodes that is as close to shore as you can possibly get. So if you go out to the west coast, they are all along the peninsula, and there are a couple that are actually very, very close to shore along that peninsula. And show you again on the map. So you have that peninsula, if I could keep it open. You have a peninsula over there, that piece of land hanging down with like the open water between it and the main island. So on the far side of that, there are a couple of oil nodes that spawn very, very close to shore. And so if you live on the west coast, you have a pretty easy time getting to some oil pretty early on. If you don't live on the west coast, you will have to travel either overland, or I suggest getting up to level 38 and taming a Pteranodon. That is the easiest way to get oil, is to fly to a location where you can quickly gather it before you actually before you actually try to travel overland all that way, I strongly suggest just taming a pteranodon first, because you don't really need oil until you have to build a fabricator. Alright, so there should be oil nodes. There should be at least one down here, and there is a base there, it looks like, that isn't loading in for me quite yet. Servers are a little bit laggy, especially when you're flying, and it can take some time. Okay. Oh, wow. It sounds, very much, and seems very much like there is some bugginess going on here. I'm going to have to restart my game, so I will go ahead and save this clip, and I will see you guys in just a minute. Okay guys, we are back. Apparently I landed inside somebody's base, as I had suspected, but none of the walls loaded in, which of course made it very difficult to see that I was running into a wall. So I appeared to be stuck when I in fact wasn't. Alright, so now that we've fixed that, we can come out here, and here you can see an oil node. So that long stringy thing on the screen in front of me is an oil node. I'm gonna make sure that I don't end up getting ambushed by something dangerous out here as much as possible. We should be okay. I have leveled quite a bit into oxygen. So this is an oil node underwater. Again, you have to be extremely careful when you are coming out here to harvest this. There may be sharks, there may be other dangerous creatures in the water, and of course you can run out of oxygen at any point. So you can see that all the oil kind of leaks out of this rock, and you can see that it says oily rock. You want to use a pick to harvest it, and you can see that I got actually quite a bit of oil just from that action. The rates on the server are boosted right now. You will typically get less than that, and the rock will typically take longer to break because I do have a very good high-level pick on this server, an ascendant pick, and most people will probably have a primitive pick when they are first looking for oil. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get back to the bird here, the pteranodon. There we go. So that's one of the major locations to find it in the ocean. This particular peninsula right here on the west coast, all along this edge, there are just a couple of oil spawns that are not too far out in the water, so you should be able to get to them pretty early on in the game, especially if you're careful and don't get ambushed by those bright glowing jellyfish. They will shock you and most likely kill you, or sharks. Sharks are probably the biggest danger. The megalodons will easily kill new players if you're not careful. And of course you can drown. Alright, so now we are going to head up north because there are a couple of locations that are a little bit easier to get oil from that I am going to go ahead and show you. And once again, it's kind of similar to Crystal, where oil rocks spawn a lot in the north, along with Crystal. Everything likes to spawn in that snow biome. In terms of those kinds of resources, and it can be very difficult to access them until you're a little bit higher level. So a pteranodon is extremely helpful in terms of being able to get around the map quickly. They cannot carry a lot unless you level up weight, and even then it's not as much as, say, an Argentavis. But they do okay, and they're good for fast traveling. They are very quick. Okay, so we are headed up. It looks like bases are still loading in, so we may be okay in terms of not having to reload the game. Alright, so we are going to head up here. Now there are a couple of fairly easy to find oil nodes basically in this area here. So just as you are loading in the snow biome, there is actually an oil node up here. It is a little hard to find at times, but it's kind of up here near all this crystal. You can find an oily rock in this area. I'm going to see if I can find it. I may not be able to find it right away, and you should be very careful. There are things like Rexes, like this Rex here, that is level 10, which is not too bad, but they can be higher level, of course. And those can easily kill you if you're not careful. So you can see that there is crystal in this area, and there are 1 or 2 oil nodes that you can find if you search carefully. I am not spotting it right now, but there is only 1 or 2 in this particular area. Now, far easier, in my opinion, and do be aware that you will need to have either fur armor or you will need to purchase a thick skin from the amber menu. So I can show you here. Okay, so if you purchase a thick skin, which I have already done, which is this middle piece in the instant buff line, it only costs 10 amber, so you only have to watch 5 ads to get that much amber. But the effect lasts for 24 hours of real-time play. So you could buy a thick skin and go make a whole lot of oil runs very quickly, and then you would not have to return to the north for quite some time. Okay, so now these are going to be what I would call the easy to find oil nodes. This is the best place to get oil on the map, in my opinion. Basically, these giant icebergs in the north biome, I can show you here. This is where we're at, that little silver dot in the top left-hand corner. Right by, it looks like an island, but it's actually an iceberg. These are the best locations to get oil of any kind. Alright, so what you can do is you just come down here and you land. And as you can see, pretty much nothing spawns on these islands except for a couple of birds, which are completely harmless, and these rocks. And so these rocks, if you get up close to them, which it's a little hard to see because they are so large, but they basically say oily rock. Snowy oily rock. There you go. And if you click on the expanded thing, you can see that you can get stone and oil from them. So you go up and you hit them with your pick, and now you have gathered oil, quite a bit of oil. In this case, again, the harvesting rates have been increased for the weekend on this server, but this is the best place to get oil. You can get so much oil here if you just purchase 1 thick skin with your amber. You could make multiple trips, and I would stick to these outer icebergs. They are probably the best way to get oil because nothing harmful spawns on all of these icebergs. If you go closer to shore, sometimes dangerous things will spawn closer to shore. And don't go in the water out here because there are a lot of sharks and other dangerous creatures in the ocean. So as long as you're landing on the iceberg itself, you should be fine. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and fly around a couple of these to kind of show you a little bit better what these icebergs look like. So this is the major one I like to come to. There are just so many oil nodes on it, and nothing spawns on it. There are no creatures except for the occasional Pelagornis, and even those are extremely rare. You can see that there are more of these snowy, oily rocks towards the shore, but then you're going to start seeing Argentavis. You will occasionally see creatures falling off the cliff up there, so you will find wolves and sabers and T-Rexes here sometimes. So I would just be very cautious if you're going to try to harvest these nodes that are close to this part of the map. Okay. Alright, so moving a little bit further north, you can see that there is another set of icebergs here, again with a whole bunch of oily rocks. And on this island, usually you will also find penguins on this particular iceberg. I'm not seeing any today. There we go. So here we have what are called the Kairuku, or the penguins. And in this case, this is going to be very important as well. If you need organic polymer, the best place, the only place I know of to get organic polymer on the island map is to kill these penguins, these Kairuku. So I'm going to go ahead and show you. Alright. So if you kill the Kairuku, you can see this item I have here now. It's called organic polymer. So this is what you use to make certain types of armor, like ghillie suits, And it also works for any recipe that requires regular polymer. So instead of using obsidian and I believe it's metal to craft polymer, where is it? Here. Yes, so this is polymer, which you can learn at level 48. So instead of using resources to craft polymer, you can harvest organic polymer from the penguins. And when you do that, you can use organic polymer to craft any item that you would normally craft with regular polymer. So organic polymer is much more efficient. So it is I highly suggest that if you need polymer and you need oil, buy one thick skin, come up here, harvest everything at once, and craft everything right away. Just make sure that you don't wait too long because the organic polymer does spoil, and it only stacks up to 10 per stack. So it can spoil very quickly, and you can lose any organic polymer that you gather in about a day, which is not very long. That's a day of real time. Okay, so here again is another good location. You can see we're just kind of moving along the icebergs on the northern part of the map here, the upper left-hand corner. And there's just so much oil here. So this is really the best place to get oil. Again, this one is not too dangerous of an area. There's just a few penguins down here. And then I believe this particular one, this is the iceberg in the upper left-hand corner of the entire map, and normally it also has some oil spawns, but it has quite a few penguins on it as well. So this is like one of the major areas that you can come to find penguins if you need organic polymer, or if you just want a cute companion for your base, because you can tame the Kairuku. I believe they eat just meat if you want to tame them. They are a knockout tame, and you can tame them with meat. Okay, so this is kind of the last area that I'm going to show you. I'm going to go ahead and head back towards my base now. But basically, those are the major areas above water to find oil. And they are my favorite places to come and get oil because they're easy to get to, especially once you've tamed a pteranodon. And yeah, it's just quick. It's easy. You don't have to worry about drowning or any dangerous creatures. You just fly out here with either fur armor or the thick skin buff, and you can harvest as much oil as you need in a very short amount of time because there are so many of these rocks out here. Yeah. You can just land anywhere on these, basically. I'm gonna go ahead and harvest this one up while I'm here. There we go. I am going to be needing oil myself pretty soon here for a number of purposes on this particular game. So it was actually good timing for me to show you. So that covers two major resources today, guys. I have just showed you where to find oil and where to find organic polymer, which is incredibly useful because it works as regular polymer as well, and you need organic polymer specifically if you want to make a ghillie suit. So ghillie suits, basically what they do is they reduce your visible range for dinos. So dinos will have a harder time spotting you because you're basically wearing a suit of leaves, and so dinos that would normally become aggressive towards you, you'll have to get a little bit closer in order for them to see you and to become aggressive. So you can pass by some dangerous creatures a little bit more safely if you're wearing some ghillie. Alright, so I think that is going to do it for today's episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed, and I hope you found this useful. Alright, if you did enjoy this content, please do remember to hit that like button. It seriously helps me out. If you want to see more content like this, you can, of course, subscribe. Alright. So I will catch you guys in the next one. Signing off, this is the Iguana.